And
Yeah, don't
I
rush on
think
me.
we have like about a week to do some labs for your practice, the skill final. It's just gonna be how what we did on the previous, like how to configure the host name, live ETY, live console, and then we'll put an IP address on it and you can tell it to. But we have one day to practice all that. So that day, come in with a good note, you know, with making good notes, all the syntax, all the command, have that ready for the final skill test. And you should be able to complete the switch of the router easily. And keep looking at the camera.
Don't look at the camera.
Anyway, so that's the plan. And then we'll go over all the questions from all the chapters, preparing for the final. And that final is not going to be open book, okay?
It's going to be?
Not.
Not?
Oh.
The
On
final-
record right now, I say not.
The final's gonna be, oh god.
Oh, man.
Alright, wait, I
No,
have a
it
question.
should be open book.
Okay, so are you gonna give us,
It's
like,
only
you're gonna give us a
25%
review,
of
right?
your grades.
Still.
Are you gonna give
it's
us
a
like
lot.
review questions?
That's a lot.
Yeah.
We'll go
That's a
over.
lot.
We'll go over all
Wait,
the test
no,
questions.
I have a few questions about this final exam. So we're gonna have a review about it. Are
Yes.
all the questions on this review?
No, it won't be the exact, right? There's no point if you do the.
Okay, and then, yeah, that's all I have.
And I think you guys should be all right. It should be all right.
Yeah, right now we're all right because we're open book.
How many questions?
We still have some reviews to do.
Okay.
You know?
How many questions?
No curve it. It's a 20-point curve.
I would say, don't quote me, 45. Okay. Alright.
And how long? Really?
Yeah, that's the day you'll take the final. But it'll take like 3 hours. Whatever you need, whatever you need. All right. So you guys review and do some practice with submitting?
Yes.
No, see me? I don't know. David is not here today?
So we'll go into about finding the subnet address, right? On Tuesday, we figured out how many subnet in that one big network. Now we're gonna find what all the subnet IP addresses. So that's something new. I like it.
Like, yeah.
All right, so let's do a couple of examples. We start with some easy, right? So 192.6a to 5.0/24. So this will be the network address. Okay. The one you gotta find is the subnet mask. In decimal. Right. Once you gotta find the total host. And then the total usable host. Right. Now you gotta find the first usable address, and then the last six is the broadcast. We'll start with this. This should be easy. So I need to know what's the third subnet, the IP address of the third subnet /27, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, the seventh, and the eighth, because we say there's 8 subnet total, right? So we need to find that. Okay? We understanding this? Because we say there are 8 subnets, right?
Yep.
So we already been given the first, right? It's just, you know, from the main network with increased bit is your first. So.
You just continue to borrow bits, right?
Yeah.
Nope. We're gonna do something different, something what we call a magic number.
Oh, yeah. You talked on that last.
So it's not
Right.
like 1, 2, 3, and 4.
No. So, okay. So we understand, right? We understand that from this big network here, if I change the mask to /27, I'm gonna have 8 of those
Mm-hmm.
out of this big network.
Mm-hmm.
We get that, right? Now let's figure out, before we do that, let me make sure you guys, let's do a couple of subnets without finding the subnet IP address. And then we'll talk about how to find those IP addresses, how to find those IP subnet address. So let's do that step after this one. All right, I'm gonna play around with the mask, okay? My new number. So this is the network address. How do you, normally when you see a dot zero, it's automatically tell you it's gonna be a network address, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's do a 26. All right, so what you need to tell me is, what is the subnet mask in decimal? Okay. 2, you need to tell me how many subnets in this last 26, and then how many hosts per subnet.
Okay.
Let's go even further. Number 4, you're gonna tell me how many no, we'll stop here. We go to, all right, so figure this out and then we'll move on. And you guys are gonna like subnetting. Once you see it, when you see the pattern and you see a little bit by little bit, and then it was like light bulb go off.
Host or usable host?
Both.
Both?
Remember the formula to do hose, right? To usable hose is 2 to the
Okay.
borrow, not borrow, 2 to the remainder hose bit.
Got it.
And you subtract by 2, which this is the broadcast address you can't use. And then the network ID you can't use. That's why the -2 is, what the -2 are for.
Per subnet.
Yeah,
How
that's what it
many?
is.
62 per subnet?
Yep. He doesn't believe it. Well, let's,
Just do another.
well, we're gonna do this and it's gonna answer why is it like this for you. So you can see it. So you don't believe there are 64 hosts in one subnet and you have total of 4 subnets.
Because I
Right.
counted all 60. I guess I didn't count my-
All right, let's do this. Before I move on, anybody either stuck or not understand how to find this? Because when we move on, I have to count on that you guys know how to do this already.
Yeah, we
We'll
should do
go
it
over.
again. We should do it again.
Do one more time?
Yeah.
One more time. Pick a number between 24 and 30.
25.
No, let's
No,
do
20,
12.
Can't do 12.
20.
He said-
It has to
24
be
and 30.
28.
25.
28. 28, yeah.
28? All right. So give me this one.
So it's from 24 to 28?
Yes.
Okay. 240? Yeah.
Huh?
240.
240?
Yes, sir.
All right. How many subnets?
16.
How do you find it?
2 to the power of 4.
We had leftover, yeah, 4, we borrowed 4 bits, so.
Right. What about host?
16.
16.
Available, 14 usable.
There you go. There you go. All right, so we're gonna move on. Okay, so I'm gonna write this over here, right? And then we're gonna prove if that's correct. Okay?
How you got the last subnet? I got from 1 to 2, I got that, what about that last, how you got the last one? Same thing, 2
This?
Just borrowed 4?
Minus
I guess
2.
it's the same thing, right?
Which one?
Remember, minus
For
2.
both of, we had 4 left over, you just did, 4 to the,
4 borrowed, 4 left over.
so that's, both of them just
Yes,
borrowed.
yeah, it happens to be yes.
Yep.
I have a question. So this is subnet, right? Is subnet address different from a network address?
It's different because, yes, it is different. And you see why. Okay?
Oh, hold on, this is not network address? The one on top?
No, it is the network address. No, this is the network address because
That's the
it's
big
class
network over
4.
there.
But because you already subnet this, right? You don't, people get
Oh.
confused here and there, but I'm gonna correct right now, just to make sure you guys going forward to know what to call it. I heard people call this a network. It's not a network. It has been subnetted from a real network. So you need to call this a subnet instead. Trust me, I've seen engineers call this a network, which is okay. Sometimes, you
But
just-
technically, it's a
but
subnet
technically
address.
speaking, right, this, you call it a sub.
So anything higher than /24 is subnet?
Yes.
So anytime I see higher than 24.
If we
Not-
did not have that.
So if anything, you gotta remember the class C is a /24. You have to go back to
Oh
your,
yeah, it did. And the other
You
ones
see
were
a class B,
/16.
/16,
And the other one was /8.
class A is a
/A. Class A.
/8. So anything that, let's say you have a network with a /17, right?
Then that's subnetted.
That's
class
already
B.
been subnetted from the class B network, which means this become technically, if you wanna really be technical correct, this is gonna be a sub-network, not
Okay,
a network.
not a network.
Okay?
So which class is most common?
See,
C? Because A
well,
is
C
too
for
many
you
nodes.
guys to learn, because it is the easiest. Probably from,
And
we're gonna continue to do this subnetted every day. Right now, you only doing this last 24 and up, right? Probably next week, we're gonna tackle on this last 16, so it's class B. There's some little bit of transition to understand, because now you're playing with 2 octet instead of 1 right now, because these 3 are the same, right?
Yeah.
Next week, we're gonna play with these 2. So these 2 are the same, but these 2 are changing, right? That's a class B address. But
And then class A, it's
we
too many
master the
calculations.
class C, and then we'll do B. A, and then A. Once you get B, I think A should kind of be the natural progression.
First of all, this might be a crazy question. So,
Yeah.
does it make sense to say anything from /17 to /33 is a subnet of class B?
There's no 33. Oh, there's no
20
33. There's only
23.
No, it
32.
is all the way to.
I thought it was only 32.
You say /23.
/17 to /23.
We-
Oh, 23. I thought you said 33.
I gotta ask, bro. My bad.
But yes, you are correct. Anything that fall beyond the class full, this is what they call class full. Class A, B, and C is a class full address, which have a reserved mass of 8, 16, and 24. These not changing. Anything that beyond this, let's say from, like he say, 17 to 23, is the subnetwork of the class B, right? Anything from 9 all the way to 15, a subnetwork of class A. So same thing with class C, right? From 25 all the way to 32, but you don't really do 32, but we'll get into that later. Anyway, just an idea, a broad idea of why we call this a subnet. Why we call this a subnetwork, because we're doing subnetting for it, right? All right, so right now what we need to do is, we know that there are 16 subnet, right? In the class 28, that's class 28. So what we want to do is, we're going to prove if there are really 16 subnets, right? And we're going to have all that subnet in an IP address, okay? All right, let's see, let's put this, see this show.
Read
So-
the same address.
The magic number. Let's watch the video first, and then when he call out the magic number, and
So you're gonna say this is the reservoir?
he will.
Okay.
But let me fix the sound. Oh, the whole thing.
16.
192.
That's 15, that's 16.
16.
Last 28, right? What about the third? So last 28. Fourth? Alright, so keep going. What's 16? Well, what would be the 16 one? Do a calculation real quick. What would be the 16, the last subnet? Can you gotta do a calculation? It's gonna be the increase of 16 all the way to the 16 subnet.
256. I can go 256. 254? No, you take 2.
You punch in the calculator?
Hold on. That's 16.
Cause you gotta make room
That's
for the.
32.
It's 256.
Here you go.
Yeah, I got 256, but you gotta take 2 away.
It can be 256.
256 too high. 254.
Minus 2,
You have to end it before 256.
254.
Is it? It can be 254. So you need the 16 hosts within that. So, okay, I'm gonna do a math. Probably 248. Yeah, 248.
Oh,
Hold on, I messed this up. What's the formula for this?
240.
Oh, all right. So, will you? This is me doing it in my head.
Okay.
Is it because the 0 is the first one?
If they go by 16.
So it's gonna be 15.
Go
16
by
times
16.
15.
Increment of
So-
16.
Oh, you just keep adding 16? Oh, okay.
For you guys to figure this out, for confirmation, you need to add 16 all the way to the 16th place. So
So it's
continue,
240.
right?
No, it's gonna be 240.
16 times 16.
So this will be,
That's what I counted. 16 times 16. Why can't we do it
Times
like that?
16 equals 256, but you gotta take 2 away, don't you?
Two-
No, one
two of the
away because you're
16?
doing 0 to.
So it's 2 times
do
16.
the normal
16
way.
times 16.
Don't worry about, don't,
It's
this
240. It's
It
240.
should be 64.
It should be 240.
Okay.
should be
so
240, right?
16
Okay.
times
Yeah.
It is 240, he's right.
15.
She said it first.
So the 16 subnet would be this address. So it go from 1 all the way to 16 subnet.
Can you double check if it's 240?
So how'd you get?
I think so.
16
That's your host
times-
anyway.
I did.
So your first hole will be 251. I'm doing my head. I haven't told you guys how to do this yet, so don't worry. We'll get there.
Okay, yeah. If I just get the formula, I can take it from there.
Yep, it's 240.
Okay, so it's the number of subnets multiplied.
No, don't worry about that. Worry about finding the magic number.
Okay, yeah, I got that part.
I know,
Yeah,
I know.
that's easy. I got that part.
256 minus 16.
That's it.
So it's number of subnets times number of
What is it?
subnets minus 1.
256 minus 16.
So
That's the formula?
basically,
Minus the magic number.
this is just for, we go beyond it, but anyway. The way I figured
One
out
number below.
is we have the 16 hosts, right, within a subnet.
Yeah.
So if you notice, every subnet, right in here,
Goes up by 16.
right,
I get that.
the 14, we have, what, the total of one octet is 250, 56 is total, right? But 255 is a total, right? So the last has to be 240 because if you add 16, it's 256, right?
Yep.
Does that make any sense?
Gotcha.
Okay, so, okay. We okay with the magic number? All right, so let me change. Let's do, make this a little, shorter so we can, let's do 26. My marker is like dying every time
I thought it was mute.
Just get rid of.
Oh, there you go. All right, so 26. Find me the magic number,
64.
right? And then write out all the subnet.
Write down all the subnets.
Yep. So here's the questions here. How many subnets? Right? How many hosts, what subnet? What are the subnets? An IP address. Apply that magic number. You can figure it out a third one. You already know how to do the first and the second.
You said you took it up to /26?
It's this last 26.
Okay.
Well, let me see what your thoughts are.
Okay. I mean, I got it. I only got confused when it got to what are the subnets?
Okay, let's, how many subnet?
4.
2 to the.
4. 2 to the 2 equals 4.
How many hosts per subnet?
64.
64.
64
62.
total. 62 usable.
That's what I want to do.
You gotta put usable.
Alright, so
up there.
now you need to figure out the IP address of these 4 subnet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So how do you do that?
binary.
Where's the which one is the magic number? Which number is the magic number?
64.
Because 128,
Second
64.
bit.
Oh, I did that all wrong.
What is this, 64?
Yeah.
That's your magic number?
Yes.
Alright, so if this is the first subnet, what would be the next subnet?
64.
There we go.
Oh.
128.
See, I changed it into .192 for some reason. Okay.
But I didn't.
What's your third?
128.
I knew I was doing something wrong. So the magic
What's your
number.
fourth?
192.
I said the same thing.
So-
248.
Did you?
No, it's 180.
192 is
There's
192.
only 4.
Yeah.
Only
Where's the
4.
fourth one?
The
then?
first
first
one,
one.
he gave us the first one. That's what I was missing.
This is the first one.
That is the first one.
Oh,
We're still
that's right.
subnetting the
Yeah,
major-
Okay,
yeah.
that's right.
Yeah, because that's, yeah.
Alright, so you believe, right? This is the math doesn't lie. It say 4. We got 4 here, right?
Yeah.
What about the host?
62.
You think the math lie?
I was confused about
62 usable hosts within one subnet. So it means that this one have a 62 hosts.
Oh.
Do you see the 62 hosts in there?
Yeah, because you can't use the first one or the last one, right?
Right.
Okay.
So what would be the first usable host here?
0. No, 1. 1.
Uh-uh.
1.
Uh-uh.
No?
6.5.
6.5.
That's the. You just go up 1.
Oh, for that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
What
then
would be the last here?
127.
127.
127.
Oh.
So the last host in the subnet, right? The next would be the new subnet,
Yeah.
right? Of the next subnet.
How many hosts does the subnet have? 62?
How many hosts are there from 65 to 127?
Calculate.
62 hosts,
Yeah.
right?
Because there's only 62 hosts in every subnet.
Math doesn't lie, right?
Right.
All right, let's do so do a few more.
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Thanks.
Yes.
We got it.
No.
All right, pick a number from 24 to 30.
29.
29.
27.
29.
You guys gonna figure out all the subnet IP?
Yeah.
The.
I do your math.
God.
1.
You know, the higher the number, the more the
The more it's
subnet.
gonna be.
Yeah.
Do it. You guys want to practice? We got practice.
All right, so oh shit, anyway. So give me the. I'm gonna do the subnet mass again. Give me subnet mass in decimal. Then give me the total of subnet. Total hosts. You know, I'm just saying the total usable hosts, okay?
Yeah. Thank you.
And give me the magic number.
Match number 8.
No, don't give it away.
Yeah, you give it away.
Come on.
And then give me,
Wait, don't. Yeah,
No, no.
just write it. Don't say it. And you
I'm not
focus
saying
on
it.
it.
Give me the IP address of. Okay, I'll make it easy for you guys. Give me the address of the IP address of the 6 subnets.
The first thing?
Just the 6.
Okay.
6.
That's it?
That's it?
Alright, got it.
I wanna, you get, yeah, you're gonna have to do a lot of math to write all of that IP addresses down. You can take a break after you're done. Wait.
Y'all be having me confused.
Oh, it's usable, that's why. Huh?
Yeah.
Okay, subnet mass and decimal?
255.255.32.
No,
Nah.
248.
248, thank
What?
you. Yes, it's 248.
Where did you get it?
32.
32.
What am I doing?
How's it 32? You counted the,
Oh,
It's from left to right.
do the
Binary.
binary, right?
Yeah.
You do from
And
left
you
to right.
borrowed.
Yeah.
Oh, I keep. Okay, 5. 2 to the 5th.
2 to 2 to the what? You borrow what?
Oh, okay.
6-bit.
Bro, 6.
Oh, yes, 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 yes.
I'm sorry, 5-bit.
Yeah, you divide.
5-bit.
Okay.
It's a lot of math.
2 to the 5th.
Can we
Wait
like
till you
allow
agree.
the two to use
You agree?
32.
How'd you get 32?
2 to the 5th.
No, you didn't.
What is
Is
2
my-
to the
No,
5th?
no, you're doing
To the
the formula
subnet?
for subnetting.
It's
No.
32.
Subnet now.
To the 7 is 32.
Oh, I am. Okay, I'm getting it mixed up. Okay, I'm getting my math mixed up. All right, yeah,
You have to convert into.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah. Okay.
All right, so total subnet.
32.
2 to
32.
the
5th.
5th, 32. Total usable host, okay?
6.
It's
6.
sadly.
Okay, here it goes.
Sad.
This is where we find out.
Magic number is?
8.
8. All right, so this is the part right here.
48.
Dot
It's
6.
40. It's on 40. It's on 40.
48.
Dot 64.
48.
Okay, let's write down, right? Let's write
That's
down.
40.
Dot 64.
That's 40.
Dot.
No, 48. No, because remember, it
So this
starts
is
at
your
0.
first, right?
Yeah.
It starts, that 0 is 1.
So second would be,
Oh man, I messed up. I messed
Dot
up.
40, right?
I messed up.
192.168.15.8.
Yeah, 8 times.
That was
8 times
Yeah.
6.
Oh,
Then
dot
192,
what about the third?
Oh, you're 48.
It's 48. It's 48. It's 48. 48.
Then 15,
48.
You're right.
16.
Where did
fourth,
48.
192.168.15.34.
Dot 24. Then 192.168.15.
And so the range is 48.
And then 192.168.15.
48. 48.
No, it is 40.
48 to 97.
it's
to 95.
It's 32.
56.
so 6.
So I was right.
You were right. You were right.
Oh, that was
You gotta
you
mix
right.
me up.
You got me, 'cause I doubled.
40?
Yeah,
48.
That was
right.
it. That was
Because you
it.
got the first one is 0, and then it's a 6th one, so you gotta do
Yeah.
like 5.
Oh, because we're starting at 2.
Bro.
We're starting at 2.
God.
Damn, I was wrong twice.
All right, what about the, okay, so the host address is
40 to 47.
Is it 40 to 48, or is it 41 to
can't be
47?
40.
40.
40 is the ID,
So it's 41,
the
right?
subnet ID already.
So it's 41
41.
to 47.
Yep,
Okay, because that 48 is the broadcast?
so.
Yep. You're
Yes.
so right.
So, when you, okay,
No,
let narrow it.
41 is broadcast, right?
No.
41 is just the first usable host.
All right, okay, so this is the part
That's
you, I
technically
knew
the
you guys
network.
gonna have trouble with. So I'll explain. So what would be,
I'm getting my
The
formula
last-
mixed up.
Everybody said
Last would be.
I thought
Seven,
it's
right?
supposed to. Oh my God.
40, 47.
would be 7.
You have to do like 4 formulas on one
So
power.
41 to 47.
Yeah.
Okay,
Like,
so let narrow this down number 6, right? How do you find the range of IP address or host address? Okay. Okay. You guys are very close. You get there. You just need to put all the thoughts together. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna write the fifth subnet back again. That would be 192.168.15. What is it?
32.
32, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna write the 192.168.15.40. All right. So take note here. To find the range of IP address within the one subnet, right? Any position, any subnet that I could say the 5th or the 4th, right? In this case, I say the 6th, right? I have to figure out where the subnet of the 7, in this case, 48. The IP address that I'm asking is this subnet, so means I need to know what the host within this subnet before it hit the next one.
Down 40, down 47.
Right. So that means the first one will be,
41.
and the last one will be,
47.
that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, who got all of it?
I didn't get it
1
right.
to 6.
I got my formulas mixed up.
I got the
The
last
last
one wrong,
one.
the third one wrong, the usable host.
So if you're saying the IP addresses, the host addresses of the IP host address of the 6 subnet is
Right.
41 to 47?
Yes. Because this is your 6th subnet, right? And every subnet has what? How many hosts?
8.
How many usable hosts?
Six.
6.
Oh,
So
that
from
would have gave
here
me
to
away
here,
if I checked myself.
equal to 6. So the key point, the key to find it is to go one more subnet, so you know what in between, right?
Yeah.
So in this case, I asked for the 6, so I have to go to the 7, right? And what in between is what the 6 host addresses that I'm asking.
Okay, so now I have a question. So if I'm in the 6th subnet, 47 is usable, so what's my broadcast? Because the next one would be my next subnet. So how do I broadcast on the 6th subnet?
Oh, okay. You
Right?
should correct me.
Oh, so you're wrong.
I was wrong.
Oh.
Wait,
okay.
you get it though?
Yeah, I get it now, because
47 is a
Because you gotta have a broadcast.
There we go.
Okay. Because I was wondering too, I was like, yeah.
So, because every subnet has a broadcast. So 47.
Well, then the usable is wrong then, because you can't use 6. You can
No,
only
it
use
is.
5.
So it is right.
41 to
So
46 is
42,
6.
43, 44, 45, 46. That's 6, right?
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because it would have
1,
been 8
2,
if you
3,
would have used
4,
the IP.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Right?
And the
40
Nice.
is the mask, the subnet mask,
Mask.
subnet ID.
mask.
And 47 is your broadcast.
47 is a broadcast. We all right?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, you want to do another one?
Yeah, one more. One
So you
more.
can't call the subnet ID as an IP if it's not an IP, right?
Nope.
No.
It's like a network, right? You can't. It's basically a network that contain all these hosts
Uh-huh.
where you assign to the computers.
Okay.
What about
Subnet
48?
ID, okay.
48, it's a new subnet. So you're on a different network.
So now it starts 49 is the first one.
First
Of
host
this
First
subnet,
host.
of 7, yeah.
that host, the 49 would be a new host of a new subnet,
Okay.
right?
Yep.
Yeah, got that.
All right, pick a number.
Practice this.
Wait, no break?
Which one we haven't done?
Yeah, after the break, please.
20.
Okay, after break.
Alright.
Yeah.
Okay, the max?
Yep.
225, 225, 225, 252.
252.
252, correct.
64.
2 to the.
2 to the 6 equals 64.
You don't minus 2 here, right? Because it's not a host.
No.
We don't count the host. But we do here. What is this?
2 to the power of 2 minus 2 equals 2.
Two.
Was it
Magic number is 4.
That was 2.
How's it for? Well,
Huh?
we're gonna write down. We're gonna answer his questions. What is it? 6-bit?
6 bits.
All right. 1, 2, 3,
Yep.
4, 5, 6. What is the last bit placement here? What is this?
1.
No, that
What are you
is.
talking about? Oh, I'm
The
sorry.
last bit, right? This is 128.
Just start from the other end.
64.
32,
Okay, I got it.
16, 8,
So this is 4. Agree?
4, yes.
Mm-hmm. IP of the 6 net is
192.
192.168.15.20.
Yeah.
All agree?
Yeah.
Yep.
You missed me.
And the range is dot 21 to dot 22.
Dot 22 is the broadcast.
Yeah, I forgot that.
Yeah.
Right? All right. So we stop here for subnetting. We're gonna do more next week. All right. So let's get on with this chapter.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Wait, can you just give us some numbers?
To do it homework? Yeah. Yeah.
Steve?
Oh, yeah, totally. I will.
You're welcome, guys.
That's your own homework.
Voluntold everybody homework.
You count one added.
If it's
So
extra
this is
credit, I'll do
one,
it.
right? You add, what is it?
I could use a couple extra points.
4. You increase by 4 to the 6th place, which is 20.
I got
Yes, I know.
Okay, so this is your first, right? This is your first, right? What's your second?
Hold on, you said what's the second?
Yeah, I'm trying to answer these questions. So what's the second? Can you?
What's the second what?
The second subnet.
The second subnet.
For that one? For the
4.
last one, what we did, it's like point
Eight.
no?
4.
Uniform, then an 8.
Third is 8.
And then 12.
12,
16,
16,
20, 24.
So this,
Yeah.
how? You're not counting here.
Okay.
Because the 0 stars
I'm
first.
confused.
How would you compute?
Because he's not counting the one you gave him. Like, it was under the computer.
And you
That's
remember
the
this is
first.
All right.
And then second, increase by 4.
So
Third,
0 plus the
increase by 4. Fourth, increase by 4. Fifth, 6. 24 will be 7 already. And you think that this would be the first.
So is the 0. So
The 0 is your subnet. The first subnet is given,
Yeah.
always.
So the 0 is the first. So
You will not.
Because it's a given. Because, you know, if they don't give you this, how are you going to know all this? Right?
Mm-hmm.
We'll do more. Definitely, I'll give you guys some homework.
Yeah. Throw in one where you got to work it backwards. Like, give us the 6 to make us find
Don't
it
do that.
backwards.
Sure. I'm gonna throw in one in the B class. So you
Oh,
guys take
man.
over the weekend.
Take the whole weekend.
See, right now we only do C class. B class gonna involve 2 octets, so you have to do more math. That's all.
Can that one replace the test screen?
Huh?
Can that replace the test screen?
Alright, so
It's locked. You're good.
cool.
It's warming up. It's on. I got that same one in my house.
So this chapter we focus on 2 things: TCP versus UDP. Alright, if you guys read it or remember
Mhm.
what, so these are the protocol, right? That which layer uses it?
Transport. Transport layer.
Yeah, I'm looking for them. But yeah, check.
Oh, you want the number? Sorry.
So the purpose of this layer is very, very simple. It makes 2 applications. When I say application, what does that mean? I mean like a software, right? So this making the communication between the 2 software. And between these 2 software talking, now I'm excluding the you know the other layers. Basically, you know, have to go all the way from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, right? We talked about this today, but
And that's layer 4 using the OSI model, right?
He doesn't?
Yes.
Okay.
So is it? So the whole concept, the whole thing we're learning today is the focus of how do software number 1 talking to software number 2, right? And more specifically, the protocol in the transport layer, how software number 1 uses TCP talking to software number 2, or software number 1 using UDP talking to software number 2. That's the whole concept, the whole chapter is about. And we want to make some points on the functionality of layer 4, right? In general, and then specifically what TCP does and what UDP does, and what the difference is between them, right? So that's it. Okay, so erase.
Yeah, take one.
Hmm?
Yeah, I don't know why he's trying. I won't even sure these ones, okay?
I only got 11 minutes of battery
Yeah,
left.
I missed this one.
Hey Siri.
Do you say he's Siri?
So applications, layers,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have 6, 5, 4. Let's say when I send an email, for example, right? That's the email software I'm using, whatever it is, either Outlook or something else.
Mm-hmm.
When I send an email, so that application going from 7, which is the software, the Outlook software, going through 6 and 5, and when it hit 4, right, it's gonna pick TCP or UDP to use, right? And usually the application itself, somebody like somebody that wrote the application will specify which protocol it would prefer, either UDP or TCP. But with software, it's going to use TCP, right? When emailing. So good. So what happened is, this layer, what it does is, it encapsulates the applications. So it encapsulates 7, 6, and 5 into a box like this. Just imagine. And then it's gonna create what they call a segment header. So this guy added that. So what you learn, and it's actually what exactly in this segment header, the setting and all that stuff. So all these header fields, all that thing in here, like, the field for the port, the source port, destination port, the protocol, things of that nature. We're gonna basically, zoom in deeply into this little, what they call a segment header, and then we're going to look at whatever inside it. So we talked about this part. Basically, the setting in here will tell you how this package gets sent from an application from PC A, sent out to PC B, for example. So this setting is telling you how this packet is routed. How it gets transported using TCP or UDP to from one computer to the next. That's just a very high overview and concept of layer 4. So number one, what it does is track individual conversation. Basically, when we look into the segment header that I drew a box about, there inside it there's a source port and there's a destination port. So the application itself using that to know where to send to what application within, let's say, your Windows 10, for example. And then it segment the data. Like I say, you know, when application, which is a software, for example, send out an email, that thing gonna be segmented into smaller pieces when it traverses the network. So this layer 4 is the function of layer 4 is segment that data, that email into smaller pieces to traverse the network. And of course it's have, you know, once it's segmented, it's have the function to resegment, reassemble that segment back.
Okay, so before it hits layer 4, it's complete. Layer 4 is what breaks it down?
Yep.
Okay.
So from 7, right, send out, still the whole thing, right, hit 7, hit 4. 4 function breaks down that application data that's sent out, and then send it to another, you know, want to go all the way 1, 2, 3, 4, back out to 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And the 4 on this side. So yeah, PCA, right? Layer 4 segment, right? Then go to 3, 2, 1, right? Go back to PCB here. Go back up to 1, 2, 3, 4, right? This guy is going to reassemble
All the segments.
Yep. And then back to 5, 6, 7, and then, alright. So the function, when it's sending, it's gonna segment. When it's receiving, it's gonna reassemble that segment. Okay?
So decapsulation and encapsulation happen at layer 4?
No, the whole
The whole process is
yes.
called that. Okay.
Like when it's sent, it's going to encapsulate when it receives, right?
Yeah.
The receiving end will decapsulate. So it's basically a process. So encapsulation happened here. Every layer.
Every layer is considered.
Yep. So here we have a different encapsulation, different. Here too.
Okay.
So encapsulation happened.
Throughout the whole thing. So that's just a general term for the whole process.
All right. The segmentation and reassemble of that segmentation happened at layer 4.
Layer 4. Okay.
Right. And the other function, like I say, you know, one is up, you know, one and two, the application, because inside the setting that I say, you know, this is. So layer 4 and create a segment header, and inside here, like I say, there are settings. One of the settings is identify what application using it.
Yeah, because it's breaking it up, so when you know though, it knows that it came from the same thing.
Right. So inside the setting of the layer 4, it has a field where it identifies what application using it. I wouldn't say what, but how the application using it. And when I get over here, it's nowhere to send to the application that can read it. So inside here, there's also a header that say that, oh, I know what application send it to me, and then I know what application I need to send to it to read what inside that I reassembled, right?
Mm-hmm.
So okay, let's talk about TCP. Transport layer, right? Two protocol you need to know, TCP or UDP. So with TCP, maybe
We didn't have a chalkboard here.
how did yours? You gave me a new one, right?
You killed it.
Where'd you get
Yeah,
those
yeah, I
from?
gave you blue and black, the new ones, and I checked before I bought them.
There you go. Let's do the characters. Number 1, what do you think TCP? Well, I hope you. Let's talk about the characteristic of TCP. What is it known for? If you ever heard about it.
TCP.
Yep.
That's the reliable one. That's the one that when it makes sure it checks, it makes sure that the packet is complete before it delivers it to the application.
So in general knowledge, it is a reliable protocol.
Isn't it commonly used?
Depends on what you're sending.
Depend on what. Yeah.
If you need it fast, you
on
use
what
UDP.
application using it.
Emails, anything where you
Yep.
need the complete data.
Yep.
And yeah.
Anything that, to me, you want to know if what you send in.
Was delivered completely.
Yep.
Picture messages. I don't know.
There's some application it could use both.
Okay.
DNS, I think it could use TCP or DCP. But anyway, we'll go into that. But so reliable protocol, and the reliable protocol is called, I think, connection oriented.
TCP.
Oriented. And number 3, what's another characteristic of TCP?
I know UDP is faster, so I guess this would be a slower delivery. I don't know.
Slower than.
Yeah, slower than UDP.
What else?
That's where I stopped. Doesn't it? I forgot. What do you call it? Not redundancy, but it checks. It
Yeah, that's why.
Oh, reliable. Okay.
Oh, you're talking about the 4?
No, it doesn't have to for anything you can think of. Anything that you read or heard about it.
That's all I know.
Got it.
That's good.
Okay. Yeah. So, of course, how is it reliable? Why is it called connection oriented? And why is it slower than UDP? And we're going to go into that, right? We can't just say that it is like this without any reason. So how is it reliable?
I forgot the word for it, but it checks to make sure that the package is complete.
So there are reasons, right?
I forgot the name. What's the word? 121.
Okay.
212.
So, because you're using a sequence number, and then it also uses knowledge. Right? So these two are what makes it reliable. What happened is every time it sends something, they put a number as a sequence. Let's say if it sends the first package, you're going to use number 1. And what it expected from the receiving end is to acknowledge that number and send a request for the next number, which is number 2. And it can continue, right? Continue between back and forth between the two. So it keeps the number bouncing back and forth to know that this guy receiving the number that I sent.
Okay.
And now requesting a new number. Okay, now I know he received that number. He asked for the new number. Now I can send that new number to it.
So the communication between a computer and a printer would probably be like that, or no?
So it all depends on the application, right? Like what do you use to print? What software do you use to print?
Okay.
So printing service, I have to look it up on what protocol you're using
Okay.
and what protocol, what application using that.
Okay.
So if that application is using TCP, then yes, the printing will be a reliable process.
But I would think you would want it to be that way, but I don't know.
Yeah. So, you know, just something that we know, like an email, right?
Mm-hmm.
An email. You send it to somebody, it using, I think, TCP,
Mm-hmm.
right? And basically, it checking if, you know, what you sent over to, let's say, me to you, what you receiving, or what I sent has a right to you. If not, it's going to keep asking for that.
Oh.
So a string of text, for example, if you only receive half, right? If using TCP, when the number is not aligned, right? So 1 and then 2, 3. When let's say you all the way here and then you send 6 and I'm still receiving 4, for example,
Mm-hmm.
right? This will cause your application, an application email, for example, will say, hey, wait a minute, I'm only, the last package I got is 4, but you start sending me 6 now. So I basically, you're gonna put a hole on it and then telling me, hey, you need to resend, 5,
Okay.
right? Until I receive 5, then I request 6 and you send 6.
When it sends sequence number 1, does it say number 1 of 6? So does
No.
it know? So
Well,
so it knows that it completed. I know it's supposed to have like an end trailer, but
so the number here, in this very simplified form, but basically it's sending a lot, like constantly, as long as you replying, receiving, and keep replying saying that I'm acknowledge what you said, I'm acknowledge what you said. So it keep going like constantly.
okay.
This is very simplified form in the basic step understanding of the sequence number and acknowledge, right? So the point is, it uses these numbers to keep track of the packet that it sends, and the guy that receiving it uses the receiving number to keep track of what it received. Okay, so remember I say that header, this is what the setting inside that header is. Right, remember I draw this box and they say segment header. That is what, like inside this box, that little field here, something, just like IP package, right? It has an IP address, source IP address, destination IP address, and protocol, things like that. So every layer you see, there's a little package, little headers, and inside the headers have settings to direct the traffic flow of that data. So like I say, the sequence number, right? Yeah, that's make it reliable. The acknowledge number. Do you think UDP has these number? Inside these, do you think UDP have the settings?
No.
Right, because it's an unreliable protocol. We'll look at the headers in a little bit. The other thing is a source port here and destination port. This is what I tell you how these layers know with the application of using it, right? Because you use an application, you send it to another guy, the other guy has to use whatever that application is to interpret what you send. So how would you know, let's say you have a computer with a bunch of software, how would you know which software to use to open that package?
Windows asks, what do you want to open this package
Right?
with?
So it has to use this protocol to figure that out, which application inside your Windows 7 to open it. So UDP is mainly used for video streaming and telephones, right? The reason for that is on the phone, for example, if you're missing a certain package, right? Things coming in to you. Let's say you are talking on the phone and you hear some like statics, for example. You know what happened when you hear that? Or you see a video and you see like a little
Pixels.
buffering,
Yeah.
Pixelate. You know what happened?
Missing data.
Missing package. Right.
I have a stupid question.
Yep.
What about video games?
Same thing. When
You
you
play online. Yeah.
Call of Duty and it glitches, yes.
You play online. You go through the network line connection, right? And you get a slow down or something, or lags.
Lag.
Things like that, right? That basically, is missing connection, missing data, sending from whatever the game server or whatnot. And of course, they're using the UDP features for speed. So that's what happened. See, without reliability and flow control. You have a question?
No, I'm just trying.
Oh. Look at the header of UDP, right? Very simple compared to this guy. You see it?
Mm-hmm.
This one had like a couple fields.
It's only 8 bits and the other one was 20.
The difference is, very obvious because, this guy, because it's reliable protocol, that's why it requires a bunch of stuff like sequence number, acknowledge number.
But it's slower, right?
Slower because
It's a lot more to
the package
process.
is bigger, right? The header is bigger. So, and it's have to, when something received in the TCP package, it has to go through all that setting within that package. And there's so many compared to UDP. And that's a reason why TCP is generally slower, right? Because of the setting inside.
and the application have to look at it, interpret it. UDP, simpler. This is very key. The main, remember the source port and the destination port has to be, or have to be in both, because this is what determines where and what application is using this or receiving it or sending it. So the source and the destination is in both. So the port number also very important. Yeah, talking about the source port here and destination port.
Can you explain? I don't know if we're going to get into this later, because when you say ports, like my mind automatically goes to something physical. But I know, like on my computer, when I'm doing file sharing, I have to set my port for IP forwarding.
Sure.
So what is
Go to
a
command
port?
line, do netstat.m.
You said netstat. Netstat, one word.
No.
But anyway, go to command line,
Mm-hmm.
netstat,
One word.
one word, and then
Netstat.
space,
Mhm.
IT.
And space what?
Okay. Just do netstat.
Just next step.
Yeah, netstat. No, NETSTAT. All one word.
Yep. Now, let me explain what happened. This is actually live right now. What happened is, there's an application on my PC right now trying to make a connection. You can see, I can see what exactly the application is using. It's
Oh.
TCP. That's a web client, right? So
Mhm.
browser, basically, I'm on a browser, internet. That's why we're here, right? Look, it's establishing the connections, right? With the IP address, along with the port, along with the transport layer, TCP or UDP. So this is happening right now as you speak. I mean, as you looking at it. So this, it just.
So this is the same thing like when your firewall blocks.
Yep. So if I want to block web server, right? I'm going to look at the port of the web server, and I'm going to block. I can block the port or the and along with the transport protocol of that port. Right? So this is a part where if you get like CCNA security, you start looking at the port and the transport layer a lot more.
Okay.
You can block with transport layers, the transport layer up to the application layer and all the way back to the IP. But anyway, this is what happening. The tap wait is basically the connection is about to die. Right? Let's say there's nothing, I'm not using that application to send an email or things of that nature.
It'll time out.
For a while, there's a time limit, and then it starts to close out.
There's so many syntax to learn.
So why is your ongoing?
So right now, I have a web page right now, right here. I can see from the HTTPS actually. So right now,
why is it still running?
Oh, it's always running because you're.
Which one?
Which one?
Yeah, mine stopped.
Stopped here.
Oh, it's probably my computer is probably doing something else. Yours is
in the
not.
background.
It's not the same as every computer.
Right, but I just was wondering why it's still running.
Because probably, I don't know what this is doing, but there's actually something going on.
All yours say time.
This is something you could, if you want to see if somebody is hacking you, this is something you could look at. Like, why do I have a connection going all the time back and forth to something that I don't know?
So if you have all your applications
somebody
closed,
is established a connection
with
to
your computer.
Computer, right?
Ah, okay. Cool.
And it uses.
So is this basically when a virus software program, is that what it basically searches through? Well,
Yeah.
I know it looks for certain files, but then does it?
Basically, if somebody hacking you, right, basically they trying to send information from your computer to whatever they are.
Gotcha.
So they're going to use whatever the application is and whatever that transport layer is, it's gonna be in the background, which if you don't bring this up, you don't know, right?
Yeah.
But if you do bring this up and this happened to be shown, you would see it keep having something. Or an established connection stays forever long.
Gotcha.
Right?
Now, you said this is real time. Is there a history as well? Like you can see.
I'm sure there's a command that you can search back to what. You
Okay.
have to look it up.
Okay.
Okay, but so you know how you can go to one web page, you can go to the next web page and the next web page, right?
Mhm.
And every time you change something on one web page, it doesn't change on the other, right? So every web page keeps a different port number within it. So when you change something, right, when you request, let's say I go to Yahoo and then I go to Google, right? So if I change something on Yahoo, Google not changing, right? Because I'm not using,
yeah.
right? What happened is, when I'm in Yahoo, right, and I change the page, I'm using a source from my computer, right, that's separate from the Google, right? So that source is contacting Yahoo server only, right? And Yahoo is responding to that specific
Request.
port
Uh-huh.
on my computer. Even though on the same computer, same web browser, but different server and different requests from me, keep it separately. So what I mean by that is, let's say I'm sending an email, right? I'm using an email, electronic email, and I'm opening a web page, and then I'm opening a chat. Every application using what you see at the bottom is a different port.
Different port number.
Right? So these are the destination port, which is a reserved port for, a well-known server. Web page will be port 80. That's always port 80, right? If you block a port 80 on your firewall, you cannot go to
Any web pages.
right? Or 443, I think that's a security. So the port is what, if you into security, you'll be learning. Because these are where you can control the connection from, one computer to get outside or to get to a certain server. If you block the port,
They can
you block
communicate.
the connection. And the port, all that port is, it's, layer 4 related. So this is telling you what the protocol that I was talking about. So this is something I want to mention. A source port usually is generated by a computer, by a client operating system. Let me explain this. This is the protocol or website, right? And it's port 80 in layer 4 using TCP. Okay. So let's say server So here I am on computer A, right? And I have a browser. Firefox, for example. Right? Firefox uses HTTP protocol, right?
Mm-hmm.
And also TCP. But the port, if I'm contacting the server, so this is the part where we go back to that next step. So this port here is randomly generated. It could be 654C1. So the source port will always be randomly generated, and the destination port will always be a reserved, well-known port on the list. In this case, port 80 is for a website. So what happened here is basically I'm trying to use Firefox, go to a website. I'm going to use TCP as a protocol, a transport layer protocol, and I'm going to generate a random port to contact web server, right, through port 80. And on your end, look at on the left side, right? Left side, you see the TCP?
Yeah.
Right? So using TCP, that's what I'm just saying here, right? And then you see that's your IP address right there,
Oh, that's my IP.
right?
Local address, so your local.
Yep,
local.
that's the IP address on your computer.
And the foreign address is
And
theirs.
look at what's behind the column.
1600.
That is your generated
Port
random
number.
port that I say here,
Oh.
right?
That's why it has the colon instead of a dot. Okay.
That is the random generated from your computer. But the port 80, when you contact the web server, that is not random generated. That is the destination port of the web server.
Gotcha.
That's a reserved number.
Is
Now,
it IP version 6 or 4 since it has colon?
no.
No,
The colon separates your port.
It just, yeah, okay, so
Yeah,
it's not
this
6.
is 4. This is 4. So
So what about the
find another
0.0s?
80. Find another port 80.
I got two on top of each other.
All right. Find another one, and I want you to see the port on your PC end. Is it different than the one that you see
Yes.
before that?
Yes.
Different, right?
Uh-huh.
The reason is it's random generated to keep the connection separate based on that port different.
Yeah.
So if you go to that means if you see that another 80, that means you go to another website and it create that connection with different port to keep it separate from the first one that you see.
Gotcha.
So different generated number is what keep the different sessions or connections between whichever server that you connected to, right?
Wow.
That's the idea behind that you can connect to different web page at the same time, and when you change something, it doesn't go over to the other.
Just different
Because
sessions.
because of the port behind the scenes, port different behind the scenes.
How high does the port numbers go, or do you have a maximum number of ports?
There's
Because I know, like,
no,
when I
it's on my
when I have
head
to
now.
select it, yeah,
it's
it has a-
generated randomly too.
but it's a range.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, there's definitely a limit to it. And every application
Has a
you use,
range.
it generates different source port.
Gotcha.
Like if you use web page or you use AIM or chat, things like that,
Mm-hmm.
your computer will generate a different source port to contact. I mean, to have a session connection. So just a key terminology here, a socket pair is when you have your source port with your source IP address contacting the remote IP address with the remote port number. So here, like on your computer earlier, on the left side I have my IP address, right? And my port address, my port number. And on the right side I have the server IP address and the port number. So those two together, they call a socket pair, which is a key terminology.
I know you said that if you block a port, if I block port 80, that would stop all communication with all websites.
Yep.
But say if I had like my kids and they didn't want them to go to a particular website, could I block that IP address if I could identify it?
So you can block it.
Okay.
You can block my IP address by the port. If you block the port, you block
Yeah,
every
everything.
website. But block the IP, yes. You
Okay.
can block certain website of that IP address.
Oh, good to know.
Okay? Here is what I say, the well-known port group and the reserved, the private, dynamic, things like that. So when your computer generates things, the port that you see, that is your private and dynamic port, right? The reserved port, the well-known port is up here, 0 to 1023. That's mean port 80 is in there. It's just a well-known, like you look it up online, that's what it's registered, right? That's what it's saying. So there's a different port for certain application when, you know, a creator, they build that application. I don't know, they register their software with, you know, these organizations say, hey, I want my application to use this port. And I want it to be well known for people that want to connect to, use my application to, you know, connect to whatever, or some functionality. So here it is. So port 80, HTTP. So these are just a well-known port that is not going to change. Right? For example, on a firewall, if you block port 443, every secure NTTS will be blocked. If you blocked, you know, port 22, you can't use secure CRT here that we have because that is used for SSH. Things of that nature.
It really annoys somebody. Oh, that's what POP3 stands for? I always wondered what it stood for.
Which one?
Post Office Protocol. I hear POP3, but I didn't know what it meant.
Yeah, for mail?
Yeah.
Yep. So this command you guys use. This is just on your computer at home. You can figure out what's going on behind the scenes, right? Like what website you connect to, blah blah blah. What somebody trying to look at.
What about in my home? Because I have like a iCloud and I have other devices. Would I be able to see the other devices in my home as well, or what?
Yeah, if you connect.
And they would have a okay.
If your device is
because I'm doing file share.
Computer, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. That was.
So they have their own ports.
Transfer. Let's say your cloud, for example. If you send a transfer file or whatever, yeah, when it's doing it, you can go to next step and you can see that connection with the port,
okay.
with the protocol. It's behind. It's in there.
Cool.
From your computer.
Okay, so it doesn't have to be an internet connection, just a local LAN. It'll still show everything. Okay.
So let's do a less overhead, meaning less.
UDP.
Less overhead meaning this could be
Just less
faster?
work. Less work.
Or slower.
Slower. No,
Hold
up.
faster.
Less is faster.
And because it doesn't care about acknowledgement of sequence.
UDP.
But if it is Karen, it's it's want to make sure that if I send something, I want the other one to let me know that it received it, that they receive it.
TCP.
What are the same with this?
TCP.
Connectionless.
UDP.
So sequence.
TCP.
So no order,
UDP.
flow control,
And session established.
So so UDP has this little initial connection, so contact before it actually sends the information. It's a three-way handshake. So what happened is, let me go back to here. Nope, not there yet.
I remember this.
So this is exactly what I just basically, kind of explained to you guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
When the client try to talk to the server, it's going to generate a different number for the source port inside that segment setting that we talked about, and then it's going to point to a destination port, which whatever depending on what protocol application they want to use. So in case 80, that means this guy trying to request a web page from the server. Okay. So this guy, because the reason I know is I look at destination port, it's saying 480, which means HTTP, which means this guy is trying to request a web page from this server, from the web server. And I know this guy trying to send an email to the web server because he's using port 25, I think. So looking at this, just the destination ports alone, I can tell what these guys actually do. So that's exactly what, if you need to know what your computer doing, you can do the net stat and you see that all that TCP connection and look at the port and you can tell what exactly you're doing. Like if you transfer files, you should see a well-known destination port with that list. So the port tell you what the computer doing or trying to make a connection. Useful, right?
Huh?
Useful, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can understand behind the scenes of all, when your computer connects to it anyway.
Interesting.
And the source port is just randomly generated within your OS, your operating system. Okay.
So I think I missed it. Did you say that with the net stat? Yeah.
You can see what your computer is trying to do.
Only your computer or any computer in the
Every
household?
computer is different. The link stat, it's just telling you what your computer are doing at that time, right? Like if you connecting to somewhere, or you talking to somebody, or you send a file.
Right. Any activity.
Yeah.
They'll track.
Activity.
So, in my household, if I
You'd have to remote into somebody else's.
can I track someone else's computer
Yes.
by?
You can track. Well.
This sounds really bad.
No, you can't.
By
No.
using a command line.
Next episode of Cheaters.
Unless
You need to do that, the router, because everything connected to it. This is your computer. Let's say your kid, right?
Yeah, what's that
I
kid?
hope kid one PC, right? If you need to track his, you need to be at the router.
But wouldn't it be a lot of information to go through because the router's gonna have all
Well,
the.
you know what you're looking for, but you
I don't know.
That's a good career choice, huh?
You have to be allowed to know how to do this, but no, you can't track him from your computer.
no, I'm just trying to make sure no one's tracking me.
Unless you mean there's certain
Even worse.
software, right? That's
Gotta know the rules before you can break them.
You know, anyway. That-
Sounds good, yeah, it makes sense.
Okay, makes sense. Okay. So we understand the source port and the destination port, right?
Mm-hmm.
One is randomly generated, the other is well reserved. And you can look at the destination port to know what is your computer doing, trying to make the connection to.
So I'm just gonna see. So like I have these IP addresses here. So if I put this IP address in Google search, would it tell me which company my?
Try it, possibly.
Let me see.
You talking about the destination IP address?
Yeah, the foreign address,
Yeah.
just to see where if it tells me where it is. 217.14.174.
Put it in Google. What do you say?
It didn't come back with nothing. 172. 172.217.
That would be a local.
No, that's for foreign.
It's okay. I mean, if foreign doesn't mean that it's outside. It could try to talk to whatever.
Oh,
host
inside.
is.
Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't even do a port 80. Let me do a port 80.
Do port 80.
Yeah. 72.
Let's see what web. Yeah, search the IP address on the port 80. See what website it is. Verizon
Communications. And let me
So basically, that's the service provider that provide that IP address. I don't know what organization registered to that though.
Yeah, it's just companies.
See, this is another company. This is actually a software application running in this computer. Yep. Oh, it could be from Microsoft. Blah blah blah. There's a lot of stuff. I mean, if you're curious, just go home and.
Why is it not coming? Nothing came out with the port 80. I did this one. Nothing.
Oh, don't put the port 80. Just put.
Yeah, just the IP address.
Oh, this could be inside. I think this is probably inside. My inside Lone Star. Do
Private
There we
network.
So I mean, you know, it's not very deterministic of
Oh, so I
what
won't-
exactly it is, but it gives you an idea.
Gotcha.
Especially if you need to track something at your house, yeah, you can definitely see what that is.
Good one.
All right, so, all right, this is what I want to mention. Before TCP connection is established, before the application is using TCP, and before that, send it to, you know, the server or something like that. There's a process called three-way handshake. So here, look at this step right here.
That's
So-
no always cancels, period. Sorry.
If you look at here, before PCA establishes a connection to PCB, you're gonna send something called a sync package. It's gonna send to B, and it wants B to acknowledge, right? Just to make sure, okay, this guy is listening before, you know. And then B acknowledge it and send back a second.
Trying to reply from my watch, just not listening right.
Right? And now A accept it and there create a TCP connection. So before PCA, for this example, talking to this server,
Watch
right?
equals
This
wife.
TCP protocol send it to this guy TCP protocol. Step 1 to 3. You send a send to here, you acknowledge. Send back a send here, I acknowledge. Now I'm going to request a web page from you. Does that make sense? So basically, before I'm talking to you, introduce myself, say I'm going to shake your hand and say, you know,
Yeah.
that whole process. And of course, at the end, when the connection is, you know, when you no longer use the website or you no longer, the file is done sending or the TCP connection, it's, you know, it's gonna terminate by sending a certain message, like fin receive, acknowledge, to basically terminate the connection. So both of these guys, when I start using, so I'm gonna send a packet say that I'm stop using. Make sure you see that message send it back that you do see it, and then now I see that you do see it, I want to terminate it. So it's like, that's why it's so reliable, because it has protocol before the connection, and it has protocol before it ends. TCP. That's a three-way handshake. So this bit in here, inside this is inside that segment, TCP segment, and it has the control field right there, where this is basically do the three-way handshakes.
Urgent pointer
It's a bit to
find.
do it. Think of it like you're looking at the under hood of a car, right? This is exactly it. It has that every little part does something. I mean, for you guys right now, the most important thing to understand the source port, the destination port inside. So if I tell you to look up under the hood of the car right now at this level, just know where the engine is. Right? The other little parts, eventually you gradually get in there. I mean, I'm not gonna say no if you know more than that. Hey. Anyway, so
This chapter is boring.
you just asked me about TCP on how to.
It's really boring.
Thank you for being so honest.
Can I be honest too? I'm fine.
Don't be too honest, man.
I guess it's after subnetting. That was more interesting.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, can we do this one? It's more excited to hear. You can go back. What happened before I even before this guy making a request to this guy? So these guys protocol, TCP protocol, have to talk to each other. It is boring. I'm not going to lie to you, but it is. What you know now, I mean, eventually, to me, it's not boring because it's actually very informative to me. Because I know the process of how, devices
There's
are
only
talking.
3, but there's
When
4
I look
lines.
at that,
Oh, it's 2
But for you
acknowledgements.
guys, the whole
Oh.
concept is not there yet.
It is a 2
Eventually will be.
right.
That's not cool.
So what happened between A and B here?
They got C.
At first it said Finn. I was saying send, so
Right?
I'm
It's gonna
confused.
introduce by saying send.
Send, acknowledge, he sends, he acknowledges, he sends, and then he acknowledges.
What is
CK.
Did you read it?
Oh, I was about to check it.
And then
Nope, sure didn't.
What?
First is send.
ACK.
Oh, why would it send again?
The bottom turn is.
you have to send it back receive.
That's
Alright,
weird.
So
Why
this
would you-
is just
But you're gonna do it again there.
check.
Oh, but yeah,
Send and then
I get it.
acknowledge and send. So that should be backwards.
I get it. Oh, wait, what?
Go. Flow control.
Woo!
If you say so.
If I'm reading this, even you guys probably fall asleep. I'm trying to teach you guys what is I think
Important.
How about you explain it as a story? Maybe that'll.
A story? A bedtime story? Yeah.
Well, no. It's a TV story. Now we can more
even
interesting.
I'm sorry, even on the engineering level, we don't actually look at this in this kind of detail, right?
Yeah.
We understand
The
how
You gotta-
pressurizing is a
flow is,
lot.
and we understand if we have an issue. But at this level, I can tell you, to be honest, if you run into an issue of window size, you're gonna have to call that vendor or call that
Yeah,
whoever
you
that's
just throw the
that
software. Throw the software away.
to figure it out. But
You gotta
Gotta
you gotta
have to know
know how to diagnose it to say this is the issue.
so flow control. I'm gonna put it simple. if I'm sending something to you, right, and you already set aside a size of how much I can send to you,
Okay.
right? And I have to respect that. So until that you tell me that you have received enough, right? You confirm or not enough, you let me know that, right?
Yeah.
So if I keep sending you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 package, and you say, you know what, 5 package is all I can receive, right? So when you receive the 5th package,
I'll send you.
Yep, you send me. You say, okay, I'm done with the first 5. Now I can send you another 5.
Gotcha.
Right? So you set a limit on what I can send you, right?
Okay.
That's the flow control.
So the receiving device sets flow control.
No, you do. You let
I'm
me.
receiving. You're sending. I'm receiving.
You set the flow control because I have to respect what you tell me.
So the
that
receiving
you can
device
receive.
says
Right.
what flow control, how much flow control.
So here's another thing. If you, let's say, you have a really, or if your computer can accept, has a very high bandwidth, it could accept whatever I send. Right? So the moment I send you first packet, you tell me, keep sending another one, keep sending another one, keep sending another one.
Okay.
So I keep sending as long as you tell me to send.
Send it.
So that is also a process of flow control.
Okay.
But if you can't accept more than 5 package,
I'll send a signal saying stop.
yep, exactly.
It's hard to think that computers really
That's the
do all
story.
this so quickly.
You don't have to read all that. But that is what
That's
flow
good.
control is. Between the sending and receiving, and the sending have to respect what the receiving can accept or allow the size of
The
package
files.
in better terms.
So in real life terms, is that kind of what buffering is?
Buffering is part of it, yes.
Because it's
So if I'm sending you,
like a
let's
big
say,
video file, and my bandwidth isn't that much, and I can only take so
Yep.
much.
so you're gonna process. Your
Yeah.
computer resource is gonna process.
Gotcha.
So let's say I sent something way too much for you to accept. You are accepting it slowly, So
Yeah.
you put a hold on it, so you process internally. When that process done, you get some of it more and more and more and more.
Okay, so does that layer also deal with physical components of the computer, like RAM, or does
Yes.
it just? Oh, so it measures your RAM too, and it knows I can only process this much.
So everything. So your internet connections, your CPU, your memory, even your operating system.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because when you buffering, that means you're not able to accept, what it is that
Yeah.
you're supposed to get. So you basically it's a process
Yeah.
within the OS to say that, hey, I need time to process it. So even the video, when you watch Netflix, for example, I mean your computer or your connection, maybe you watching a high HD,
High def
right?
or
And then
4K.
all of a sudden, let's say you have a good bandwidth watching it, and all of a sudden your kid jump on another download, for example, and so it cut half of your bandwidth. Guess
Yeah.
what? What you watching right now, it was going so good, right? And it stopped because somebody in the house half the bandwidth in half. Now you see buffering,
Oh.
right?
Okay, that's a good question. I know it's a little sidetracked, but like in my house, like say if I am trying to stream and I have other devices eating up my bandwidth, how do I, like, outside of cutting the other devices off,
You
can I
on
just
the router, you
in
can
my-
set the priority. You can set your IP address. I want my IP address.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you how to do that after
a
class.
Priority, right? So it's gonna.
You tell me then.
So I can lower the bandwidth on
your
other
router,
devices.
You can control all of it.
I didn't know that. Okay, that's interesting.
What that means, man. It's gonna help with kids. Bandwidth. Anyway, so yes, you could control the bandwidth. Flow compression.
This is so
like I say,
exciting.
when you send it too much, this is where the buffering we're talking about. And if you use application with TCP, you know, if you know you send it someone something and that something not receive it, it's gonna keep requesting you resend it back. Right? That's just natural of TCP. UDP, it isn't care.
Yeah.
You don't receive it, I don't care. Or I don't receive it. Keep sending, I don't care.
But FTP also makes sure that all the packets are received as well.
FTP is TCP. FTP is a protocol of the application. TCP is a protocol of the layer 4. So there are two protocols here.
Oh, okay.
Right? So because of the application go through layer 4, so I have to pick TCP or UDP.
Gotcha.
But within the application itself, it uses
This is
different
the FTP. Okay.
Headache?
Yeah. I'm trying to stay focused.
We always are. Always are.
What did you say that within the application,
So,
there is another?
I know, I say a lot of application stuff.
No, I got the previous part, the
So-
different protocols, but why did you say that within application there's a transport protocol?
No, the transport protocol is TCP and UDP.
Right.
But the application protocol is different, right?
Right,
Yeah.
I get that.
So application, that's layer 7, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this one have its own protocol.
FTP.
Yep, like
FTP, HTTP, yeah.
Right? That is the web, right?
Right.
FTP is file
And then-
transfer.
Yeah.
Because you know, traffic, it have travel down, right? If you want to send something, and you hit layer 4.
Transport.
Now this protocol add on to another protocol, TCP
UDP.
or UDP. That's all. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's two different things that we talk.
No, you said something that in application.
Yeah. In the application, that's the this is the
Yeah.
in the application.
Within application, there's another transfer protocol.
No,
Mm-mm. I don't think
the
so.
transfer protocol.
All
is
transfers are done now.
layer,
Okay.
layer 4.
All right, then I'm sorry.
You didn't hear that. I don't know why you heard that. I didn't say that, did I?
Let's play back the video.
All right.
Talia didn't miss much.
Connectionless, doesn't care if the receiver receives the package. So these are applications that use TCP. So here to clarify what I just say, right? The protocol on purple here, that's the application protocols. These protocols using the
TCP.
protocol of layer 4 also. So two protocols,
Gotcha.
right? So UDP mostly you see voice, right? Videos. There's some protocol that you could use both.
DNS, right?
Yep, DNS I think is one.
I think that was
Protocol uses TCP or UDP or both.
it. Uses both.
Right?
Oh, it's only two. Trying to get back.
Which one is TCP? Which one I talk all night uses TCP?
HTTP, FTP.
Okay, the way, how you remember, think about, because that's a file transfer protocol.
Mm-hmm.
And if you transfer a file,
You want the whole thing?
you want the other guy to receive the whole thing and correct, right? Properly, yeah. And then what else?
DHCP.
It's
I don't know
also a
what does that
transfer
stand for
protocol.
though.
Huh?
What does that one stand for?
It's trivial file transfer protocol. It's a different. It's a,
Oh, okay.
It's
So
a smaller protocol.
If I remember
it's a
the-
protocol to transfer a small.
small. Okay, so it's still an FTP, so I can remember that.
TCP. So this is a male, right? Like outlet using it.
Okay.
DNS could be both, right? We talked about.
Yeah, DNS is both. And
Telnet, I think is TCP.
Yeah, TCP.
If TCP.
Is UDP. Oh, SMP. Oh, no, that's.
wait.
I think this is it.
No, IPTV is UDP. Nope. Ah, see, that FTP is not.
Is it over here or here?
UDP.
UDP?
Oh.
Okay, so trivial files is like whatever.
I thought that it's freaking TCP. It's
So voice over IP, trivial file transfer,
hey, we
IPTV.
done.
Woo! You made it. Everybody's awake.
Hey, you those are born, right? So, just a summary, just, you know, talk about what we exactly learned. Why do you use TCP?
When you want to make sure that all of the files are received properly
Why
More
do
secure
Yep. Secure,
and reliable. Yeah.
and slower.
slower, right? What's a good reason? Why would we use UDP over TCP?
Streaming and gameplay.
Yep. Something that,
TCP.
we don't care if the packets get lost.
Acknowledgement, TCP.
TCP have sequence and acknowledgement. That's why it's reliable, because those things keep track of the packets going back and forth between two computers, two devices. And so inside of every segment, there's a bunch of settings. And I'm sure the test's going to ask you what settings they are in. You guys taking the test. All right, so next week we'll do more IP version 4 stuff. We're going to play with the B, class B, which is going to involve the third octet. So slash 24, slash 16, slash 8, and then you have.
Can you send us some?
Yeah, just send it through email.
Yeah, of course.
And I pulled this out my trunk right quick.
Oh no.